Aberdare and Waterloo. Now, you're very welcome back to Northwest today, and I'm joined in studio by Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning, Margaret.
Now, and welcome back after the break.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all the listeners.
And to you too. And of course, it is a new year, and we've all great intentions of being, I suppose, looking after our health a lot more and becoming more fit and diet and all the rest of it. So you're going to give us a wee bit of advice today on taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, well, I'll just throw out a few general tips, and maybe over the next few weeks we can cover more specific things that people tend to use as New Year's resolutions and that. But it's definitely a time where people take a look at themselves and think, right, it's time to change a bit, and which is good too. It's always good. And but with I suppose firstly, from the research, we know that 25% of New Year's resolutions are broken in the first 3 weeks. So I guess the important thing is to be sure what you want to do, make it achievable. Maybe instead of making a list of your imperfections, say, and embarking on a total vice ban all at once, choose one thing at a time.
Do you think because people eat so much over Christmas and indulge a lot more, and I mean there's so many tins of biscuits and chocolates and whatnot around the house that all of a sudden you think I've definitely overeaten at Christmas, so I'm going to take a good look at this.
For definite,
Yeah.
And I guess, well, the New Year is always a time for resolutions, but it's always preceded by I guess a number of weeks of excess in everything and things that generally are bad for us.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it adds to the incentive, and I think people sometimes come out of it very determined and to try and do everything all at once. And it's the biggest hurdle, and I guess that's why the research shows that a quarter of all resolutions will be broken in the first 3 weeks. So I'd choose one thing at a time. So the likes of say cigarettes or coffee or alcohol or sugar, choose one of them, give it up for a few weeks, and once you've that knocked over, move on to the next maybe. And this strategy is realistic, achievable, and it'll build your confidence, and it's making success more likely. If I was to give I guess my top things which I believe would be a great New Year's resolution, or what I start with, is definitely getting fit in a physical sense, and hence an emotional and psychological sense. But physical exercise is extremely important, and sometimes the first things people look at are I suppose addictive substances that are no good for us, and diet and so on, which is extremely important, there's no doubt. But I think probably one to start with would be if you get a fitness plan going, physical exercise wise, first.
And that doesn't mean hours and hours in the gym or a 10-mile walk every day, and that is what suits you, isn't it, and build it up. Exactly,
and I think that could be it could be a confounding factor going, from say sedentary maybe for the last number of months, or definitely since the weather's got cold, to going crazy all at once. Again, that doesn't work. But it's starting probably in moderation. It's all relative to your level of fitness currently, but you really need to start slow, and a good 30-minute walk every day in fresh air is brilliant, and it's a great way to start. And then you can work it up, and obviously if your general level of fitness is a bit higher, you need to push yourself a bit higher. And I guess then you can move on to but it's generally people who are generally sedentary, haven't done much physical exercise, and I'd appeal to them to maybe start doing whatever they can initially, and time is a problem too, but start with a walk, and then progress to maybe a bit on the jog or a treadmill or whatever again. And obviously if someone has any medical conditions, then that's to be taken into account, but in general health will improve with increased physical exercise, both the organs of the body and the muscular system, but also emotional and psychological. I mean, physical exercise is extremely, extremely important. And with physical exercise, within 24 hours, insulin receptor sites become more sensitive to insulin, thereby controlling blood sugar levels better and preventing diabetes and stuff. You'll build more lean tissue or muscle mass, and that in turn cranks up metabolic rate, and this determines how better you burn calories in general. So it's a great start, and it should be definitely the number one on the list, is to get a program that suits you, gets into your schedule, and it's realistic.
And of course, we're all different shapes and sizes, so therefore, different exercise levels for me than you, and everyone's totally different. Definitely.
And age is a factor too, obviously, if you're elderly or if you're debilitated or anything, but it shouldn't exclude you. You should definitely get a regime that works for you, and use it as a start.
This listener says they followed a few of Gabriel's advice and have noticed big improvements. Can you ask Gabriel which is better to detox, drinking water or green tea?
Yeah, it's a good question. I drink both. Water is extremely important.
Again, there seems to be a bit of confusion about it, though. Some people say 8 glasses of water per day. Others say drink as much as you possibly can. And people say if you drink too much water every day, you're making your kidneys work too hard. So is there a happy medium there?
True.
Again, is it... It's
a big topic, and... there's a number of expert opinions on this, and it is confusing, and the quantity is really like there's horses for courses here, and it's really based on generally your diet and your level of activity as well. But I think roughly 2 or 3 pints of water a day should be minimum. Minimum, yeah.
I think I'm doing well at a litre of water every day.
A litre's great, yeah. Great, yeah. And I mean pure water. I don't mean like tea or juice or fluids. I'm talking about water. It's extremely important for the body. Now, an indicator, because we're all different, an indicator, a rule of thumb, or the litmus test, is the colour of your urine. So it should be white or off yellow. If it's dark yellow, you need more water. You can definitely overdose on water. You can drink excessive amounts of water, but it tends to be rare enough in general. It is important to, I guess, balance it with electrolytes, and salt content. In general, this is towards the excess, but in general, for many people, I think 2 or 3 pints of water a day should be a good goal. You have to work up to that. If you don't, like some people don't drink any water. They drink some fluids, but no water at all.
You do often hear people saying, I can't drink water.
Yeah, hydrophobia, it's this, like, they just don't like the taste, or they hate it, or whatever. So you have to start slow and work up. Start with a glass a day or a glass twice a day. And, a good thing to do is get a pint glass and keep it there in the house and fill it 3 times, or at work or whatever. Away from food is the best time to drink water as well. So a half hour before a meal or 2 hour after. Now everyone...
an hour after or 2 hours after?
2 hours after.
2 hours after.
Yeah, so just until you metabolize your solid fuel. Like if you take it with food, and it's very, very common, and if you go to a restaurant, you're going to get water, and so people think that that's the time. But we actually take this from breastfeeding. So at the start, if you're breastfeeding an infant, at the start of the feed, it's mainly water to hydrate baby, and then towards the end it's more protein and fat content of the milk, so nourish, but in general hydrate before maybe half hour or after 2 hours. If you drink water, a lot of water with food, you're going to dilute down digestive enzymes that you produce in your saliva, but also in the pancreas and so on. And they're extremely important for digestion. So throwing in water on top of that isn't a good thing.
So you wouldn't recommend, would you, the sandwich with the glass of water together?
No, not at all. No, I think you should drink water away from food completely, and it's the best time to hydrate yourself. Now, some people feel the need to sip on a bit of water to take down food and whatever, and that could be habitual. But in general, with water, it's very important. I drink it away from food.
So just drink it away from food, and then drink enough, 2 to 3 pints a day.
Yeah, I think that should be, again, as I say, like, people are different. If you're exercising or you're sweating, if there's kind of high, maybe if you eat a lot of salads and stuff, there are, vegetables and fresh herbs and that tend to be 70% water content, and so it's a little bit different, and it's horses for courses.
This listener says they've no taste for drinking water, suffer with a lot of headaches. Could it be coming from the lack of water intake? The only time can drink water is after a night out.
Definitely, you could look. A big symptom of dehydration is headaches, and it's generally more one of the end stage symptoms, and after a night out we tend to be dehydrated, even though you've drank a load of beer or whatever. I guess that's what they're talking about, but the alcohol would dehydrate the system in general. Here's a way that may help to start off. You get a pint glass, you get good water as well, sometimes tap water with the chlorine, fluorine, probably bottled water is a bit better, but a pinch of salt, unrefined sea salt, into it.
Into your tap water?
Into your whatever water.
Any water,
Any water. May make it more palatable. It does for some people, and then others.
Sea salt?
Yeah. Generally, I don't recommend using table salt. We talked on it before. Table salt is a really poor product. All the minerals and trace elements are stripped out. It's bleached white and add anti-caking agent. It's a really poor product. It's predominantly sodium chloride. I don't think it's good for the body. However, unrefined sea salt has 82 minerals and trace elements. They're there in small amounts, but all in the way I guess we've evolved to take it. It was a very important commodity. We used to fight wars over salt. It's very important. So that's what I'd use. But a pinch of salt sometimes in the water makes it more palatable to people who really hate water. You can try a small drop of apple juice or something.
A lot of people would.
I don't go for cordials and that; they're poor products. But small little bit of fruit juice, maybe with the water, could also make it more palatable. But whatever way it works, water is very beneficial.
Okay, so for people who are making New Year's resolutions, whether it's diet or giving up the cigarettes or whatever, rather than do 2 or 3 things together, do you reckon maybe then start maybe with a little bit of exercise and build it up over the time, and then look at your diet?
Yeah, it's more realistic and achievable. If you do too much things at once, for instance, if you try in the first week, you give up the cigarettes, you join the gym, and you cut out things that you could be addicted to like caffeinated beverages or sugar, the body is going to go into a wobble, and you're going to get withdrawal symptoms, which aren't particularly nice in general. So I think one thing at a time will increase your chances of success in implementing all the things. And with anything, if you drink a lot of coffee or black tea or caffeinated beverages, if you stop all of a sudden, you will get withdrawals, generally headaches, irritability. You won't feel that right for a period of time, probably 10 days maybe, but So if you did that along with another possibly more addictive thing, like maybe cigarettes or alcohol or something, you know, it's going to be a very strong withdrawal in that, and it's more realistic to kind of do one thing at a time.
So take one thing at a time. Okay, Gabriel, listen, thanks a million for joining us on the programme this morning. Of course, you're back next week and we'll give some more tips to maybe we'll concentrate on giving up smoking next week, because I think for a lot of people that's one of the most difficult to do, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist. How can people contact you if they wish to?
Oh, they can ring 07191 42940.
Okay, rejoin us after this break.
Ocean FM.